price, we pay the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life, yeah. All my life.
Welcome to Darren here on ESPN Kansas City, 94.5 FM, 1410 AM, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, one of these days, Instagram. Join in studio. I am in studio today. I decided to, brave the weatherly elements today and come join Mr. Sterling Holmes in studio along with our weekly guest, Mr. Todd. I got tired of him sitting in the big boy chair, so I had to come in and reclaim my throne. Leabo.
What's up?
How are you doing today?
Good. Wonderful.
Good.
March Madness is here.
It is.
Sort of, ish.
Yes. Sterling, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. I mean, this weather sucks, dude. I can't stand this. I hate this fog and this. It's eerie outside.
It may snow again.
No.
Yes.
Screw it.
I'm over
it. Tell Gary Lezak to
it doesn't rain when the weather comes out of the sky. What I wouldn't do to be for Tampa right now. Yeah. Well, there's a lot to get into today. We will be discussing March Madness. We'll get Leabo's picks because I need to fill out my bracket. We do hope that everyone gets a chance to go over to Sports Radio 810's webpage, 810 WHB, fill out your bracket with our 810 bracket. If you get a chance to, you might even win something special from Travis Kelce, which could be an autographed football for him. That's a grand prize. So, nice. We do want you all to sign up and. Well, free while is good. Yeah. In this economic time, sure, even you can afford that. Free is good, but we'll get to that a little bit later because I do need to make my picks, so I need help. And not only to make these picks, but to make sure there's money along the way. That being said, though, the big news, there's a lot of big news, as usual, coming out of the NFL. The biggest one, of course, I know, Stuart, you had some thoughts on this, and I've already said my piece because I want the Chiefs to go after Orlando Brown. But they were, I guess, somehow money for Trent Williams, who decided to stay with San Francisco. 6-year deal worth $138 million.
Too rich for the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah, it's too rich for my blood. Now, my first question to you, Sterling, one, do you like the deal? Do you think it's worth it? Do you think they overpaid? Or how do you foresee this?
I would need to see the contract breakdown because that's a lot of money for a guy who's 32 years old. I mean,
well, 55 of it is guaranteed and includes a $30 million signing.
Sure, so you're probably thinking of it as a realistic, 3-year deal? So you're playing, 33, 34, 35?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of money to give a aging left tackle. He's great, don't get me wrong, but I think it was a little too rich for the Chiefs situation. Your whole point was to get younger at tackle. You already had two aging tackles. Injured and aging tackles. Just to me, I didn't see the point of overpaying for another aging tackle.
Well, I
thought it was the pipe dream, especially after they went and signed Tooney. There was they're not spending that much money on two guys on the offensive line. They paid a lot of money to a guard. I didn't think they had enough money to work anything out realistically with Trent Williams. He is clearly about the money, right? He set out almost a year fighting over money and other things with Washington, but they were not going to be able to be in that neighborhood, I didn't think.
Well, it's interesting. There's a lot of Chiefs fans were excited about the opportunity, but again, everybody was mad at me because I'm like, well, I know that Orlando Brown, had talked about he wanted to play left tackle.
He's get traded though, right? He's out of the agency.
Yeah, but the thing is,
I'll tell you this right now: Orlando Brown is not as good as Trent Williams.
Yeah,
but he was not as good as Trent Williams when Trent Williams was 25, or when he's 32, or when he's 35. Trent Williams is measurably better than Orlando.
But here's the thing. He's 24, so he's 8 years younger.
Yes.
And two, he has already guarded an MVP. He's protected an MVP. So, I mean, he's got that. So it's not like you bring
some Heisman Trophy winners.
Hey, yeah. And if you stop and think about it,
he's pretty good. I just know this. I watched him a lot in college, obviously, because he went to Oklahoma. So did Trent Williams. Trent Williams, so much more polished as a young player and as a pro than Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown's got a little attitude to him. He changes positions and all these things.
I mean, 6'8", 344. But I mean, you want somebody with that attitude protecting Patrick Mahomes at 6'8", 344.
maybe. I mean, if you could trade for him, I guess the price wasn't too high, possibly. But I've watched him play enough. He's got head problems too, I think.
Fellas, quick breaking news. Rodney Hudson is being traded, not released. He was going to get let go. The Raiders said, whoa. Kansas City, you're trading Rodney Hudson in a 7th rounder to Arizona for a 3rd round draft pick.
The Cardinals are making moves.
They are.
AJ Green today too for 1 year.
That's what I know.
The ghost of AJ Green, I think.
Well, first of all, you still got Larry Fitzgerald, you got DeAndre Hopkins.
I mean, that was not in the contract though, right? Is he a free agent and has to be re-signed? I don't know what his situation was.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, I'm pretty sure that they want to
look at aging.
Yeah, he's aging. He is truly aging, but he's still a leader in the locker room.
He absolutely is.
Good guy out and out the field, NFL member of the year.
I don't think he'll play anywhere else. If he signs there, that's fine. But he seems like a Cardinal for life.
Yeah.
I don't think he's someone who's going to go chasing it, but maybe.
Now, of course, you look at it though. Patrick Peterson, he's walked away. They separated themselves. He's looking to go to attend a potential Super Bowl type team. I don't know if you think that after 2 years, maybe Kansas City would finally look at maybe bringing them in, possibly bringing them in.
They like their young corners. I don't know.
Well, again, I'm
spending everyone's money.
Who?
They're spending everyone's money right now.
No, that's Sterling. That's Sterling. But here's, because this is what I want Kansas City. I want Kansas City to do what Indianapolis did a few years ago, and that's drive linemen with your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd pick in that same move so they can all grow together. Maybe put them on the line together. Let them go through those growing pains along with Lucas Niang, but you got a veteran, perhaps L2D coming back, or maybe that you should release him like they released Damian Williams. Make it, that's just me. You can release Damian, release LDT as well. But if you do that, drag through some offensive linemen that can grow together, that can grow to a cohesive unit and protect Patrick along the way. Which I think, if you get the way Indianapolis does it and your scouting department is that good, I think you can have a great offensive line. And the fact that, again, the Raiders are getting rid of offensive line, maybe you go get a Richie Incognito.
I wouldn't bring that.
I wouldn't. But
it's wrong and insane.
Yeah, Darren, we're trying to get further. Why do you want insane for your offensive line? You know who wasn't insane? Will Shields. Willie Rove. These were very nice. Yeah, these are very nice. Mitchell Schwartz. You don't have to be insane to be a good offensive lineman.
Yeah, but you want some nasty.
Richie Incognito is certifiable.
Yeah, I don't want someone who could. Yeah, we do not want Richie Incognito anywhere in Kansas City.
I don't want him for obvious reasons, but I'm also thinking, Richie Incognito is not going to get punked in the Super Bowl playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers like this offensive line did.
If you want a Gilbert Arenas situation in the locker room, then bring in Incognito. Otherwise, let him stay away. And I think the Chiefs have a little bit of trouble. They can't really do the Colts situation. They don't have the 5th overall draft pick. You're at 31. Mm-hmm. You're not getting the top 5 draft pick to get the number 1 guard or number 1 offensive lineman in the draft. There's a big difference there.
But also to your point about AJ Green, when you stop and look at it, he didn't have to move the number 1 wide receiver. Obviously, that's going to be DeAndre Hopkins, so that will open up things for him. And of course, if Larry Fitzgerald comes back, that offense doesn't look so bad. Now,
is that not different than Dez Bryant at this point? I mean, is AJ Green is AJ Green that much different than Dez Bryant at this point?
What's his health? I don't know.
I mean, he's been just the past 4 seasons.
Last year, he was just stringing out all the level.
And he was the 4th wide receiver even when he played last year. He was behind Tyler Boyd. I mean, he was behind 4 dudes last year.
Yeah. I think he helps the offense more so than if for no reason off of reputation alone. I mean, you put him there offensively with Kyler Murray, you got a lot of weapons. I mean, you still have weapons to choose from even in the backfield and what you're able to do, of course the defense being what it is. I am curious for you all, who you think some of the top free agents are left out here right now, because it's not really a lot of huge names that are going into free agency.
The top guys are gone at this point, right? I mean, there's so many things happening in the legal tampering period. There's not many monster names out there, but I think what the Chiefs probably need to do is the way they built this before was Mitchell Schwartz a monstrous signing?
He was like a 6-rounder.
Yeah, he was the guy who played at Cleveland, and they signed him. This wasn't Trent Williams, right? They need to go find the guy who's not crazy expensive, who can fill the position. They gave pretty good money to Sammy Watkins, probably more than they should have, right? But most of their free agent moves that they've made have been just for some guys, right? I mean, Tyrann Mathieu was kind of a big free agent signing, but it wasn't some insane deal. They're already going to redo him. He didn't get some $100 million contract or something like that. The Chiefs probably need to be in the waters of the middle of the road to find some of these players, because they're at the top of the top on, Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes, and they gave Frank Clark a lot of money. He wasn't a free agent signing, though. They spent the money on the capital, and they did it. So I think on the offensive line, they still need some more help there. Live in that middle ground somewhere.
David Andrews, is that too expensive for your taste?
We'll see what the man ends up doing, but they're going to have a different-looking offensive line. We know that. I mean, they're already different because they cut 2 of their starters.
Yeah.
And I guess LVT is coming back.
And I think Ryland's
he's coming back
as well.
I think they'll bring Reynolds back too to be a guy playing right tackle, maybe not left tackle for sure. That didn't work out very well. But I don't think you're going to see the Chiefs going big time. They spent a lot of money on Tooney, so I don't think you're going to see the Chiefs going big time on the lineman.
Are you surprised that they got rid of Damian Williams yesterday?
No, I'm not that surprised, because every time we tried to ask about the guys who weren't there during the year, because we never really got to ask, it was always, we expect this, we expect that. So I'm not super surprised. Out of sight, out of mind is a thing for sure. Now, they could have basically, what did they save, a couple of hours? Darrell Williams compared to Damian Williams. Yeah. They're going to have to make a choice there.
They're about $500,000.
But Darrell Williams was there all year long, and Damian wasn't there. So they know what Darrell Williams looks like right now. They know what his shape is and how he is. So I'm not super surprised they did it. I thought for a lot of people, and this is regardless of why you opted out or whatever, but I thought for a lot of people, opting out just get you away from the facility for 6 months, and the NFL does not wait for people. They just really don't. So I'm not super surprised. I think he could have certainly helped this team, and he was a big part of what they did, especially in the postseason. And it was a really good part of what they did in the Super Bowl championship year, just during the regular season, too. I mean, it's a big carries, the big long touchdowns and everything. I'm not super surprised it happened. I feel bad for him. I still haven't heard.
His mother had stage 4 cancer. Has she passed? Do you even know what her health status is? We haven't seen much. Because the Chiefs they weren't able to talk about these things a lot, and he's not super active on social media talking about things. So I'm not really surprised, but it happens, He's certainly older.
Brings something different to the table. He may not be as good as a pass catcher. He may not be
quite. You mean the one that hit him in the face in the Super Bowl?
Exactly, or quite as explosive. But we know what Darrell brings, and that's Darrell the Barrel. He goes straight ahead. You know what he's going to bring. If they expect Clyde Edwards-Helaire to be the every down back, they want that change of pace guy who's a little bit different. I think Darrell is just different, and that may be why they brought back Darrell instead of Damian.
I think most of it has to do with the fact that they know exactly what he is because he's been there with them. They haven't seen Damian. They haven't seen him. They don't know what he's doing. They don't know what shape he's in. Couldn't be there.
Well, you don't know what shape Lucas Niang is in either.
You have him. He's a rookie contract. I mean, you have that.
He's not playing the
but
most
what about
replaceable.
the doctor,
I'm with you there too. I mean, like I said, is he back? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he's coming back, but I don't really know. I mean, they haven't opened Canada yet.
What's the salary situation? So I mean, how
he's got a couple years left.
I think they can get out of LDT's contract after this year. I think this is a year contract.
Well, they can get out of contracts anytime.
Damian Williams was straight off, right? Because he had signed a 2-year deal, and this last year was one of them. The second one, I don't think there was a lot of dead money or anything.
But last year he only accounted for $350,000.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but there was this is no like he's not carrying around some Carson Wentz money or something right. on the dead money. So that's why they're doing it right at running back. Yeah. You sign these guys for 2 years, $5 million.
Running backs get signed for pennies on the dollar anyway.
Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not going to get in 2 years or 3 years some $90 million extension from the Chiefs. It ain't happening. That's not what they're doing. They're giving that money to quarterbacks and defensive players on the front.
But which running back is getting a lot of money? Aaron Jones.
Still only 4 years though,
it's
right?
only 4 years.
But like, 44 million, 12 million a year?
Will there be another Ezekiel Elliott contract at running back?
There shouldn't be.
I don't think so.
I've been screaming this at Darren for so long. I just want to point that out
to Sterling because I know how he hates
That's a reasonable contract.
Yeah, that's not
4
$20
years
million.
It's well, hold on. First of all, it's more than my guy Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry deserves a lot more, than that friend than what he got. So
you'll give him $100 million, and they'll just never make the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There we go. I'm talking
Darren, you're going to get me so heated.
He's doing this on purpose.
Well, he does this every single time. He goes, but this is different. You can make the case. You know how many running backs over the history of football have been, well, he's different, and then it turns out, wait a minute.
But you would pay Trent Williams that kind of money that he got.
Yes, I would.
I wouldn't for the Chiefs.
No. But I would rather pay Trent Williams. I would rather pay Trent Williams
than Derrick
Henry. Yes, if that's my option, then yes.
From the Chiefs for sure, Derrick Henry would just take the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands.
Yeah, I love running for things instead of letting Patrick do his thing.
No, Kareem Hunt never carried 300 sometimes in a year.
He's have to. True. That is true. Now, there is, of course, my guy, Deshaun Watson. John McClain of the Houston Chronicle says that he believes that there is a better chance of, at the time, of a Texas new tech coach than Deshaun Watson getting traded. Now, he believes not that he expects them to trade Deshaun Watson. On yesterday, they signed and acquired Tyrod Taylor from, of course, he was last year for the Los Angeles Chargers. Do we see Deshaun Watson finally getting traded, or do you think it's going to be a standoff with the addition of Tyrod coming to the Texans? If you're Deshaun Watson and decide to sit out, well, we got a quarterback anyway.
Well, they're ready for him to sit out, obviously.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going to happen. Franchise right now, you don't want to be at odds with your franchise quarterback.
Backs left and right.
And aging running backs, too. They're like, okay, we can't have a superstar young quarterback. Let's get us a 33-year-old running back.
Well, the face of their franchise on the defensive side is gone.
Right.
And the face of their franchise, a couple years before that, Clowney's been gone, right? They had Tyrann Mathieu for a year, gone. They had Hopkins, gone. And now Deshaun Watson sitting there looking around going, what am I doing here?
Well,
what am I even doing? Their coach is gone. He was their general manager. I understand him not being happy about what's going on there, but, I don't know what he thinks they're going to do.
Yeah, but
where does he think they're going to trade him?
But he has a.
Where could he go? Who's looking for a quarterback who would take him right now?
The Panthers, the Jets, the Dolphins. If the Texans were willing to trade,
right?
I think. Look, I think to be quite honest, if New England picked up the phone,
if you think he's good, there's no way you're trading him in the AFC.
I mean, I agree with
right?
you. I agree with you.
So you can trade him to the Panthers, maybe.
49ers. I think it's reports said that he wants to go to either 49ers or the Broncos. I'm still not sure why the Broncos, but it is what it is.
Well, I mean, he probably likes their weapons. I mean, they went and drafted some nice young wide receivers and all that stuff. They got some guys up there. I mean, he wants some weapons around him. I get that. I understand that. There's the ownership and the players, who's in control, who gets to do this, who gets to call the shots. And that's where we are down there with them. We've been there before with these franchises.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it in Washington. Kirk Cousins wasn't happy. Fine, I'll just sign the stupid franchise tag for 2 years. And then he just walked on. We've seen that you don't want to be angry with your quarterback. It does not work out. And that's where they are now. And I don't think there's any fixing it because he seems to be dug in. Now, what happens is if he decides to not play and then he doesn't get any money, not like he's going to be in the soup line looking for food, but when you sit out for 6 weeks or 8 weeks and you don't have any money, and you're used to having that money coming in, that stinks. So I don't know. Are they going to sit there and let him blink and do that? I think they're setting themselves up. Well, we've got Tyrod Taylor here. We'll go play football.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen is he's not going to perform as well as Deshaun, and of course when they get to
losing, is he going to only win 5 games or something?
That's but you got rid of the talent that he had, and Tyrod is not known.
I love Deshaun Watson.
I mean, Deshaun can't play.
Can't throw it and catch it too.
Yeah, because
I was going to go back on me.
Well, no. I was trying to make sure I didn't say something that came off the wrong radio. He can't play by him. He can't play with himself. So that's.
Well, you said it anyway. That's good. He can. We'll see. COVID times, man. You never know. But it's a rough spot for this whole thing to be in, and that's where you need to have a real line of communication with ownership and the star players, and that's gone right now.
Look, I did a show. I did a podcast last week with Pat Mahomes, a senior, and we were talking about the situation with Deshaun. Again, Deshaun, which you would have thought just in general, if you're going to sign your quote-unquote franchise quarterback to a 4-year extension for $160 million, that you're going to have that type of line of communication, that type of relationship with your quarterback, with that type of investment that you made in there with them. If I'm Deshaun Watson, yeah, I do feel a certain kind of way because you promised me this and you said it in the media, so it's not like, you just told me and then, it's just your word against mine. This is what you said in the media, that the next coach, next GM, you're going to have input with your quarterback on the direction that you're going to go because, well, hold on. Okay, well, last I checked, and correct me if I'm wrong, Leabo, did the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes on what to do with their first round draft pick?
Well, that's the way they've been.
And he said Clyde Edwards-Helaire, correct?
The Chiefs are doing it differently than Houston.
No, I don't. I understand, but as I told him, is that that's the type of relationship that you want to have where your coach, your GM, president, your quarterback are all on the same page. Obviously, lines of communication, things like that, where you can have that type of dialogue. We see it here in Kansas City. I mean, that's and to an extent, it was kind of like that when Brady was in New England. They all. Yeah, but they also they were also with Patrick before they won the Super Bowl when they lost the AFC Championship game. So I'm saying that line of communication, that trust factor was there. What I'm saying is that I'm pretty sure Brett Veach was talking to Patrick about what we're going to do this offseason, who we're going to be looking for. Why do you think Patrick Mahomes had smiley faces when they signed Looney? I mean, Thuney, do you not think that he didn't know about it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think they do. But there's no line of communication in Houston. It's just not there.
That's why he wants out of there. I mean, if you're going to invest $160 million, but you're not going to take my input, why do I need to be there?
I agree with you, except that it's not always the way it works. The Chiefs are a great place to be. Not every franchise is that way.
I mean, and now Tampa is the place to be too. So.
Yeah, it's a shame, but it happens. That's why we talk so many times about situation.
Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes got drafted into the greatest situation, and it's continued to be great.
Yeah,
it's continued to be good because Deshaun Watson got in a pretty good spot because there were a lot of weapons down there.
But
he didn't go to a crappy team. A much better spot than either one of them would have gotten had they got picked by the Bears. Yeah. It would have been terrible. They both went to better franchises. They were better.
Well, they would have had a great defense.
But that's not how you go play quarterback. You got to go have players.
I know. But they could have surrounded him. But to your point, though, Deshaun, even though he was drafted there, Bill O'Brien still kind of screwed him because instead of having him come in and be named the starter, you play that juggling game throughout training camp and in preseason.
That's why it was great for Patrick because Alex Smith was there. You are not starting this year. You come sit and watch and learn. Yeah. No one will ever have a better spot than what Patrick Mahomes got drafted into.
That part is true.
And he's taken full advantage of it, and he deserves tons of credit. But he also gives credit to Coach Reed, the Chiefs, Alex Smith, all of it. There's nothing better than getting picked in the top 10 by a team that had to trade up 17 spots to get you. Everyone else who gets drafted in the top 10.
Ego too.
Well, everyone else who gets drafted in the top 10 gets drafted by a crappy team that didn't make the playoffs and probably hasn't made the playoffs for a while. The Chiefs had made the playoffs 5 out of 6 years or something when they drafted him. That's a freaking legit franchise.
Yeah.
He didn't have to come and play. He got drafted 32nd. He got drafted by a team who was already there.
Well, you did have a Hall of Fame, executive in Ozzie Newsome.
Yeah, all those things. But
that worked in his favor too.
If who had the first pick in 18, or the top 5 picks? Who had them? I mean, it was like Cleveland where Baker went one. If Lamar Jackson got drafted by Cleveland, he wouldn't have won no MVP. They're a mess. He would have had 2 coaches his first year.
2 or 3, yeah, the way they were
playing. I mean, it's like that situation is a key to everything. Lamar Jackson got drafted to a great situation. Now, they deserve some credit because they moved all around the place. They changed their offense. They did all those things for him because they recognized they had something that was special. It wasn't a throwaway pick.
Now, the Panthers are said to be locked in and trying to go after Deshaun Watson.
That'd be a great place for him to get. That'd be back close to where he played college ball. They love him back there. All that. They're an okay team. They're okay. I mean, if McCaffrey's healthy, they got a weapon. That's a waste of money, by the way. Sitting here watching for half of it, hurt.
Hold on. I'm the one that said pay Derrick Henry. Nothing about this dude, Christian McCaffrey. But I do want to get you all thoughts right quick before we go to break. The Bears, they were trying to be all in to get Russell Wilson. There's reports that they offered 3 first-round picks, a 3rd-rounder, and 2 starters for Russell Wilson. The Bears said no way. So what do you do to your Bears fans? You end up with Andy Dalton. I mean, Lance Briggs already did.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're dug in as well with the Russell Wilson. I can't, and I understand it because I think Mike Robinson had made the comment like they've given you everything. They signed you contracts already, and they got rid of most of the defense for you. Get them out the line and provide it with the offense, and now you want to leave. Well, of course, I still think that's more of his wife than anything else. But Russell Wilson not happy in Seattle.
Yeah, what's new?
Well, look, we're going to take a quick time out because what I need to do and what Leabo is going to help us do is make these college picks in the match.
I got some bracket news for you right now.
Uh-oh.
Davion Harmon, Oklahoma's 2nd leading scorer, will not be able to play. Positive COVID testing.
That just busted up Leabo's bracket already.
I was at Oklahoma. Who'd they just play?
Who did they play?
Kansas, who had a positive test the next day by Jalen Wilson, who happened to go to high school with Davion Harmon. They were probably chit-chatting up on the court, being friends and all this stuff.
Okay, so hold on. But the question is, who gave the other who?
Well, he just tested positive, and Jalen Wilson tested positive last Friday, so I think we can figure that one out.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that and more as we return from break. You're listening to Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City. That just tore up your bracket, didn't it?
I know the team's going to beat freaking Gonzaga. First round game. I just think it's smart. Read on my fucking back.
Okay, Leabo, how do I create this damn bracket?
What's that?
Trying to figure out how I create this damn bracket. How do I? This is really not good. My bracket. I'm trying to. Oh, okay, good. Here we go. Ooh, that's how we do it. Okay.
Charvarius Ward tendered.
Huh?
Sam McDowell says the Chiefs have tendered Charvarius Ward.
Yeah. I'll let you break that news.
And they've signed Ben Neiman to a 1-year deal.
Huh?
They've signed Ben Neiman to a 1-year deal.
These are all cheap deals that don't really affect their salary
team
cap.
guy or
So.
something.
Welcome back to Darren and Show here on ESPN Kansas City, 94.5 FM, 15:10 a.m., Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and with our human Shazam, who is
Poison. Bell Bivens, right?
Yeah.
Michael Bivens. Who is the Bell?
Ronnie.
Ronnie?
No. Ronnie DeVoe. Ricky Bell.
Ricky Bell.
The
Chiefs have re-signed Ben Neiman to a 1-year deal, and they have extended second-round tender on corner Charvarius Ward. So
I knew still like that's why I wanted you to do that. Well, shout out to them. I mean,
they got to keep those guys. You know,
keep them.
Keep those cheap guys.
No. I'm fine with it. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
He's going to just a guy. If he's out there playing a lot of defense, it's not great. If he's playing special teams, it's fine too. The Colts have officially acquired Carson Wentz. The deal went through. That's really old news, but they have to wait till today to do it.
Yeah, because I think that's also a scenario with Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff. I think they had to wait till today for everything because
that's what happened when the Chiefs traded.
They're physical.
When the Chiefs traded Alex Smith, it happened Super Bowl week or something, and then it wasn't until later.
And then they still have to pass a physical too, because if the team flunked, then the trade is off. So,
yeah,
it happens. Well, tomorrow begins March Madness.
Yep,
I knew he was waiting on that. So I got a feeling every time someone says March Madness,
you got to be quiet when you do it. The madness I told you right before break last time. Now, earlier today from Bill Self at Kansas, they're going to play Eastern Washington on Saturday morning, or 12:15, 11:15 our time, or whatever, 12:15 our time. Pregame will start before that. David McCormick is supposed to be able to travel to Indianapolis on Friday and should be in uniform Saturday if all the testing goes well. It's according to Coach Self today. Tristan Aruna, who was held out of the Big 12 tournament because he's McCormick's roommate, eventually tested positive on Sunday night, and he will not be going there. Jalen Wilson, who tested positive on Friday morning, the day after they won their first game against Oklahoma, will not be able to be there for Saturday's game. They say he could travel there on Monday, and depending on if they win on Saturday, what time they play on Monday, could possibly be available for Monday's game. It's taken another step forward. Lon Kruger, Oklahoma's coach, who's playing Missouri, 6:25 on Friday night. They played Kansas on Thursday and lost that game. One of their players now, Devion Harmon, has tested positive and will not be available this weekend for Oklahoma in their games against Missouri. The other side of that is Devion Harmon and Jalen Wilson happen to go to high school together. That doesn't mean anything, but I don't know if they chit-chatted down the side, something besides just playing basketball, spent some time together, maybe because they were all in the same hotel, all those things. I mean, they were all together. And who knows what the thing is there. Lon Kruger has said he doesn't know if there was any contact between them or not. But that's where we stand right now. Kansas will be without at least two of those three players. David McCormick, right now, they're planning on him being there Saturday. But they had their testing this morning, and it's nervous time now. It's finger-biting time. Are they going to get good results on all those tests, or is Kansas going to have some more guys turn out positive because they're testing every day, and this thing can't get here fast enough for these coaches? But it's only Wednesday, and they don't play till Saturday.
The other thing, though, with those players, especially for Kansas and the Oklahoma gentlemen, they're obviously in close contact with their teammates and stuff like that. So the fact that he got it, but it wasn't.
We're just saying these two things are true. These guys are friends. They went to high school together and stuff. Not saying that's how he picked it up or not. They could have their own infection. But if you're just going to sit there and say they played each other, Kansas bowed out of the Big 12 tournament, and then a couple days later when Oklahoma gets to town, now they've got a positive test. Just putting those things there, not saying this is one cause the other. We're just giving the information out there. There's going to be nervous times for these coaches. It's one of the things I asked Coach Self today on the Zoom. He's like, yeah, and you start wondering because what they've had now, they had a positive test. We can put this all together now. Earlier, they didn't say what they'd had. They had a positive test sometime probably the last weekend before the Big 12 tournament with David McCormick.
Right.
So they had to have Tristan Aruna in the close contact thing. So he couldn't come to Kansas City with them. He told us today that Aruna had a few negative tests in a row, but then tested positive Sunday night. Okay? So now they know that. And we know that Jalen Wilson tested positive. So they had three players test positive.
But could it not have been a false positive? I mean, to be tested negative.
But now you have to get more negatives rolled up in a row. Anything could be false, but we know this. Those guys were roommates. Someone had it. A few days later, another guy tests positive. A few days after that, another guy tests positive. They got a lot of tests to go before they get to play a game.
And they don't do the contact tracing in college, do they?
No, they do. That's why Aruna, they had decided that since he was McCormick's roommate, they said, neither one of you guys are coming to Kansas City. Now, it turns out that Aruna now has tested positive, and Jalen Wilson tested positive on Friday. In between the two of them tested positive. So now you start thinking, well, who's Jalen Wilson's roommate?
I was just
that's where you go. And they didn't come over here. They bust over to Kansas City. They try to keep them separate on the buses away here and there. And, you do your best. But they still have practice. They still have little huddles. They still do things. So I'll promise you this. Bill Self is not sleeping easy. He's not sleeping easy going, oh, we're just going to be all fine. Right now, he's hopeful that David McCormick will be in town on Friday and able to play on Saturday. And he's hopeful that they win the game. And then he's hopeful that Jalen Wilson will continue to test negative at this point after he's tested positive and be in town and be able to play on Monday if they play on Monday. Yeah.
No, I'm not going that far.
Eastern Washington's a talented team. I mean, but this is how upsets happen when you don't have guys. Now, they'll have to get really hot and make a bunch of threes. They shoot threes all day long. They're not gonna come in. At least what their coach said on their Zoom yesterday, Shantae Leggins, that they're not gonna come in here and just try to junk the game up. They're gonna come and play basketball. They didn't get to the tournament by having no possessions. I mean, they score 80-some points a game. They're going to come shoot and chuck and do it.
You know what that means? Take the over.
Over. This will be the craziest tournament we've ever had.
I got to see how many points. That they're being given because
it's like double digits right now. Now maybe they'll start taking these things off the board, but
oh god, I hope not.
USC probably. USC is a good team. They got some pros on it. Right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay, well, since I don't see the playing game stuff on this bracket. No. First of all, I'm looking at A10's March Madness. Okay, so I'm gonna need you to put some respect on that right now, so.
We don't pick them on there.
What?
We don't pick the playing games on there.
Okay, good.
You can just assume, like, if you wanted to say that Michigan State or UCLA was going to beat BYU, you go ahead and click. You just click through play and winner.
That being the case, we got to get some picks together, Sterling, because I got to get this turned in. We got Gonzaga winning the first game.
I'd click them through. I'd click them all the way through the Final Four. They're awesome.
Okay. Well, we'll do that in a second. But Oklahoma and Mizzou, because I know you all got a friendly wager going on.
Flip a coin. That both teams stink. Now they're without Davion Harmon. That's not a great thing. But I have seen this year Austin Reeves, their leading scorer, have to miss 2 games because of COVID. They happen to beat Alabama, who's a 2 seed. Without him, without Austin Reeves, and then they almost beat Texas Tech, who's a 6 seed without Austin Reeves. So they've played without players. The question in this one, who is going to be their more true self? Oklahoma, who lost 4 out of 6 or 5 out of 6 down the stretch, or Missouri, who always loses when it counts? I mean, it's just what it's going to be. They did. Yeah. When's the last time Missouri won a league or a NCAA tournament game? It's 2010 or 9. They've won since then, but it's been a long time. So, in Oklahoma lost. They didn't play one last year. They won 1 game the year before. Oklahoma intends to play themselves into the 8-9 game, and then they lost to Virginia. Virginia won it all or whatever. But this is a total toss-up game with or without Davion Harmon.
The hardest game when it comes to pick, when it comes to these brackets, is always 8-9 seed because the teams just seem like they're so close. I'm looking at the other side, North Carolina, Wisconsin. Well, no, that's fair as well. But I'm saying 8-9. You look at
I
North
think
Carolina,
this. I think the difference in this year's, when I'm sitting there watching college basketball, the difference between a 3 seed this year and an 8 seed is pretty tight in a lot of these things because we've seen in the Big 12 you have Baylor's a 1. I think they're better than everyone. Yeah. But they did lose after COVID to Kansas and Oklahoma State. But Kansas, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, Texas, West Virginia, Oklahoma, put them in a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Put them in a bucket because Oklahoma I make fun of because they fail all the time. They beat Kansas this year. They beat West Virginia twice. They beat Texas. They did that. Oklahoma State beat West Virginia 2 times near the end, and they ended up getting a bad seed out of the deal. But Texas Tech ended up beating Texas in the last game of the year and then losing to them in the tournament, so they get kind of knocked down. All of these teams have kind of beat each other. So which leads me to think that I think the difference between a 3 seed and an 8 seed or 9 seed is just not much this year.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Leabo, I need help with some of these picks. Virginia, Ohio. I'm going to go with Virginia on this one.
I go with Virginia. I mean, you go with the big leagues sometimes on these, but
okay, then let's go with Kansas and Eastern Washington. Then
I'll still take Kansas, regardless who plays. But I think the spread's double digits, and I would. If you're making me bet, I would bet Eastern Washington.
Well, I might just have to do that for you, Leabo. So, well, yeah, that's the only. I mean, what other reason is there to do it for? It is just $1. It is just $1. Look, hey, Stimmy came through this week, so it is $1. Let's do Oregon, VCU.
That's a tough one. I don't know much about either of these teams. I would probably Oregon. That's who I picked on my bracket.
Leabo, who's your Final Four?
I have Gonzaga in the Final Four. I somehow got to Florida State in the Final Four because I don't like Michigan. I don't like them. They're just like, I think they're a vulnerable one seed. I think they could even lose to LSU, super athletic team. So that's kind of how I ended up with Florida State there.
Even over Alabama?
Yeah, I don't think Alabama's that great. I think Alabama's going to have a tough night shooting. They just chuck it, and if they're not making them, they're going to lose. I have Ohio State beating Baylor.
That was the one I was kind of.
And I've got Illinois in there too because I think Illinois is very good.
Well, Illinois,
I got Texas losing to Florida State. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I think Texas could obviously win that game. They're very talented. They have a lot of. I mean, they have just athletes. They look great getting off the bus, but they have not been able to put it all together. So,
what do you think about Oklahoma State and what their freshman Cade can
I think he's awesome, and he could be someone. But their problem is they got if they should have been a 3 somewhere, and if they were that, they wouldn't have to deal with Illinois. So I think they got a bad seeding, got stuck with Illinois. I think Illinois is just really good. Illinois, the freaking Kofi Coburn he's like a little Shaq. I mean, he's a monster, and their point guard, maybe one of the best players in the country. The dude with the sideshow bob hair. I say his name wrong all the time.
Bob Huggins, obviously Big 12 and, what he does in the tournament, in Big 12 tournament, seems to do well. But even with the talent that he has,
I think they're overseeded. I don't think they're that great. I like Houston beating them. Kelvin Sampson's team is rough and tumble.
Yeah.
They're good. And I think they're possibly a Final Four team, but I think they got the wrong 1 seed with Illinois. So I think I got them in the regional final. Yeah, that's where Quentin Grimes, the kid who transferred out of KU, has landed. He's their best player. He scored 25 points last month. He's been their guy. And then I would probably have Houston going through. That's what I have. Listen, I don't win this thing like ever. I've done all right in the pools before. And I have this year probably seen less college basketball than a lot of years just because of everything that's gone on. And it's just weird to watch the games with no fans and all that. So I try to go with good coaches and good leagues, and Gonzaga is just awesome. I mean, anyone you talk to, they're unbelievable.
I know you got Florida State going in, but
I don't like the 1, 2, 3 in that. I think that's the most wide open deal.
From what I've seen and what they did in the Big East, I know you got them losing to Florida State, but do you think Georgetown can pull an upset?
Georgetown's not a great team. They kind of got on a run there. They could.
That's all you need.
They could. But I got them losing to Colorado in the first game. So.
Oh, you got to lose the first game?
Yeah. Colorado's pretty good. They're okay. But we'll see. I mean, they've got momentum right now. And momentum's a good thing for you.
Always good to have the big mo with you still.
Yeah, for sure. But I think Florida State's a good team. It's a pretty good league. And, Leonard Hamilton's a good coach. He's been there a long time.
So, I know a guy that's going to be good. In the tournament, though, especially these open rounds, do you see, I know you're not a betting man, but do you see like more overs than unders? I mean, do you see just because teams maybe.
That's one of the weird things I was looking at. I mean, there's some big spreads in this. Some big spreads. You'll look up sometimes. You'll see 25 points or something on a 1 seed. And you're like, oh, they're winning by 25 or 30 points. And then they always just put the kids in because they want them to have a chance to play because they probably won't get to play. You see a lot of backdoor covers late on those.
I do see like Houston, Cleveland State, they're 20.5 point favorites.
That's a big number. Yeah, they won some game. They made the Sweet 16 one time, a long time ago. But
KU's only a 10.5 point favorite over Eastern.
Yeah, and I think it might have been bigger before that. I think it might have been like 14 or something before these things start coming out. 12 seeds do win a lot. I didn't like.
I didn't like Georgetown
as a 12. I have UCSB because I think Creighton's a mess right now. Yeah, because Creighton, I have Winthrop too because Villanova's hurt.
I can see Winthrop, but
Gary Hale's son goes to Winthrop, so there you go.
Oh yeah,
the Beavers.
A little loyalty.
They won, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to take Winthrop just to spite Frank in Villanova.
That's right. So we got a war here. We got all these wars in the building. Gary Hales, Frank Bowl, me, and all these Missouri people. You know, Drake. The Drake went to Drake.
KU, so.
That's why the Drake's name is the Drake, because he went to Drake. And the playing game is Wichita State. That's where his oldest son goes to school. So there's a war right there. I'm married to a Missouri Tiger. There's fights everywhere.
War of the Drakes. Let's take a quick time now. Close out the show. You listen to Darren Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City. So that's why they call him Drake, huh?
That's it. The Drake, because he went to Drake.
Oh, man.
3 minutes, Shirley? 3?
Got to make some picks, man. NIT. Sterling. Yeah, it is NIT tonight. Richmond, Toledo, and then St. Mary's in Western Kentucky. So it was a couple of dollars. Under 51 points. Welcome back to Darren Sterling here on ESPN Kansas City, 94.5 FM, 1510 AM. Still joined with Todd Leabo and, of course, my main guy, Sterling Holmes. Tomorrow we're doing the show on location, weather permitting. We're going to be doing it from the NAIA tournament down at the Municipal Auditorium. So, look, if you are down there, we'll be down there for the first game, which kicks off at 2 o'clock. If you are down there, feel free to stop by. Social distance, of course. We'll give you the fist pound and stuff. Come down and say hello to myself and Sterling. We might even get you in on the air and just get your thoughts on, of course, the tournament and stuff. Leabo, we know that you are a big college sports guy. The NIT kicks off tonight.
Tracy Chapman? Okay. Sorry, I was late to getting in here.
Yeah, it's
Child's play.
Well, yeah, I was covering for you. You had to tell the people that, but
NAIA.
Yeah. No. Well, that's tomorrow. Yeah. We're going to do a show from down there. But NIT starts tonight.
Mm-hmm.
NIT. So I'm curious.
Who's in that?
We got tonight. Richmond versus Toledo.
Okay.
And then we've got St. Mary's versus Western Kentucky. I need to know who's going to win these games.
I have no idea.
That's even better.
Yeah, they're in Gonzaga's league, yeah. And Richmond's a Spider. And Toledo is a Rocket. What wins, a Spider or a Rocket? That's the way my wife would go through these.
Toledo, they can score a lot of points. I'm thinking because the points is 151.
No, they're in the MAC.
Yeah, they're in the MAC.
Yeah, they're a MAC team. So, and who's St. Mary's playing?
St. Mary's is playing Western Kentucky.
Hilltoppers.
Yep.
And the St. Mary's is the Gales, I believe. Is that correct?
What wins? Some sort of a bird or a hilltopper?
I'm not quite sure.
I don't know. I think you should avoid these unless you're just picking for fun.
We're just
Don't gamble.
at least a couple of dollars.
Same areas, yeah. Yeah, in the past. Richmond was the first 2 seed to ever beat a 15.
But Richmond is 4.5 point underdogs.
Well, let's take them. Go Spiders.
Okay, well, okay.
Outright, wrong team favored.
Over under 151.5.
I like the under in these games. Under.
I mean, Toledo scored points now. They scored.
I don't know. You're asking me to emphatically tell you something I know nothing about.
Well, I'm picking them anyway. I'm picking the over on both. I'm picking over on both. I'm going to put $2 down there, and I'm going to win.
I'm going to say this. Here's your basketball talk.
$24.45.
In 1987, Washburn won the NAIA. Now they're in Division II NCAA. They lost to Northwest the other day. They won the NCAA. But
everybody loses to Northwest.
Let's do this right here. In Division II, they're in the Elite Eight. The Northwest Missouri State Bearcats are in it. So we got a Missouri team in there. And Truman State Bulldogs are in the Elite Eight. 2 Missouri teams made the Elite Eight. Can a third Missouri team, Sterling, make the Elite Eight? No, I don't think so. Then I get back past Oklahoma, no matter how many people have COVID.
Yeah, I know, right? Leabo, thank you so much for joining us. We'll do this again next week. We are off on Friday. Tomorrow, join us. We'll be down at the NAIA tournament. You'll be listening to Darren and Sterling here on ESPN Kansas City, 94.5 FM, 1510 AM. Have a great day. Wear your mask.